we will chant the verse, Bhagavad-gītā, 2nd chapter, 62nd verse. Dhyayato vishayan pumsaha sangas teshu pachayate sangat sanjayate kamaha kamat krodha abhijayate. Translation: while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. Okay, so this is a very powerful verse. If we have to see this, there is so much into it in then the two lines that we see. It's actually giving us the concept of how majority people's problems in material life is there in terms of their dealings, right? In two lines, if we are able to really understand this, we can solve a majority of our problem. Even materially, I am saying, forget about spirituality. Such a powerful concept has been given here. Somehow people don't get this. People try to go for anger management and so many things, how to be anxiety free. They spend lakhs of rupees to try and control these things. But here, if you miss the root cause of things and you superficially try to solve problems, it cannot be solved. Sometimes, very rarely, sometimes we may see temporary results, but in reality that evaporates very quickly. But if you fix anything at the root cause, then the problem is never again coming up. So, but somehow we don't look at Bhagavad-gītā the way it should be looked at, and people use it more like a management tool. When I'm talking about some of these workshops which are done, where they try to help people control anger artificially. Coming to this one, where this particular verse is spoken by Krishna, and why he is speaking this, in what context. So there, if I have to go to the root of that, why this question came up. There is a verse earlier by Arjuna. In 54th verse, Arjuna is asking a question. O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So Krishna is giving him a lot of instructions. Arjuna is trying to understand, okay, this is all there, but how do I know if I am actually assuming I think I am following your instructions? How do I know that I am actually doing it correctly? So how does such a person behave? How does he act? What are the symptoms of such a person who follows correctly? All of us keep asking, right? I don't know if I'm improving in my spiritual life. So people keep asking, oh, I have been chanting for long, but it is there. It's not like, if you do this, this is the result. That is clearly there. People think only in the scientific world the results are there. But in spiritual world, it is all, people's imagination, or, it is not scientific in the sense, if you do X, Y, Z, the results will be A, B, C. In science, it is very clearly, at least the way we think of science is, if you do this, you should get this result. And it is universally applicable. It's not like, okay, if Vidura Madhava does, it doesn't come, but if Sri Hari Prabhu does, it comes. Then they say, then that is not science. Because maybe they will say, then no, Vidura Madhava didn't do it correctly. Like you take an example when you go to the lab and they give an experiment. So you try, I also try, you get the exact result, I don't get the exact result, then what is the conclusion? That I did not do this, there will be some deviation from the actual result which is supposed to come. Then the thing is, I have not done it correctly, but you have done it correctly. But then it's not the problem with science, it is problem with Vidura Madhava Das not doing that experiment correctly. Now, can the same yardstick be applied to spiritual life? Because Krishna says, Jnanam Vijnana Sagitam. He is saying this knowledge, what I am giving you, Bhagavad-gītā, is actually science. Therefore, this yardstick should apply. Whatever Krishna asks us to do, if I do that, then I should get that result. So here clearly he is asking, this is, okay, you say all these things. If you do, how will the person who's doing that behave? Now, is it not clearly a question of result of that particular action? Now, while answering this, Krishna is touching the root cause. He is saying, there are many verses above that. So maybe I will talk, next one, at least the translation we will read. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So these are the symptoms. Now he will keep on describing it. That is coming in. Now in that sequence we are getting this particular verse which is talking about, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. So he is saying, if you are not doing those things, or what are the triggers for you not to be able to do this thing he talked about, your senses need to be under control, you should be situated in the self and all that. If you are not able to do that, what is the result? That is what we are seeing very clearly. If you see 61, the previous verse, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So he is giving that. But if you don't do that, what happens is, while contemplating on this, so he is giving the logic of why we are not able to be in a steady state. Ideally, it is that, you give up sense gratification, you fix your mind on Krishna, and you engage in his service, then you are actually in good shape. But if you don't do that, or why you are not able to do that, that is being described here very nicely. Again, we'll see, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. So he is giving this concept that if you are not using your senses for the purpose for which it is given, what happens? Basically, if you say, okay, I am using my senses for my bodily gratification, not for my soul's gratification. There's nothing called a gratification from a soul. Doing in the constitutional position of the soul whatever needs to be done, for that this should be used. Or Krishna's gratification, we can say like that. But if you are using it for the body's gratification, because this entire chapter clearly talks about you being different from the body, and if the way a vehicle in which you are using to attain that objective of the soul. But if body is the purpose for which I am living, and to satisfy the body is this one. Body and the mind and everything. That is described here. So when a person is attaching himself to more and more of material objects, what happens? It says when we do that, even not even attaching, when you contemplate or thinking more and more of this material things, we developed a kind of a lust for that. And when you develop more of such lust, uh, anger comes. So if you can really see the whole thing, you can give tens of hundreds of examples in our day-to-day life. Every day we can see this. So let's say I am obsessed with buying, let's say, a car. Now what happens? I just contemplate on buying a car. Just contemplate on buying a car. Okay, should I? No, I think it's time now I buy a car. Let's say I think like that. Now what happens? That thought doesn't immediately, you are not in that shop next day buying it. Then you start thinking about it. Like, you try to justify why you need a car. So there is more and more deep meditation into that subject of that particular object. The more you are keeping on, then you go on saying, okay, what should I buy? What should be? Then you do a review. I am talking of practical things which all of us do every day. Think of a car or a phone, or even, I don't know, even if you have to buy a dustbin, you go into Amazon, and naturally these days everybody do online shopping. Then you say, okay, which it is 250 rupees or something, or 400 rupees or something. But how much of research we do, what all different types of dustbin is there, how it will fit into this one, where I want to keep it, or is it better to keep, they will give options like it is there. So the more you keep thinking, you are obsessed with that thought. So now at a stage where I become so much attached to that thing. Okay, finally I take a decision, I go and buy that car. Now what happens? That object becomes so much dear to me. I post it everywhere. It becomes my Instagram post, it becomes my Facebook post, it becomes my WhatsApp post, whatever social media I have, it is all over the place. So now I am so much attached to it and I am exhibiting it everywhere. Okay, fine. And it sometimes takes us to a situation where we even forget our other engagements or other commitments. We are more spending time only on that particular object. And, I take it out some, second day, third day, maybe first day, I take it out on the road. Someone, a bike comes and, just close to that car and scratches the car. You can imagine what happens, right? From this, so first is our contemplation on the object, and because of that contemplated, it has become so much obsessed in our mind, we are very lusty about that. Then, because of that lustiness, if there is something which is happening which is slightly upsetting that object's position, in this case the scratch by a motorbike or something like that, then I go mad, right? I get so much angry, I start, we can see road rage, so many things. So now, you put it in the other side of it. Okay, assuming you are going in that car and there is another car which is going side by side and someone scratches that car and there is a traffic jam which happens and this fellow is shouting at that bike fellow and all that, and you are the one who's next to him, therefore you are not able to move forward. Now what will you say? Why are you creating such a ruckus? You see the traffic is piling up, it's move on, it's just a small scratch, what is the problem? Now when it happens to the other person, now because I am in lust with that car, if it happens to my car, I am in a very bad state. I said, I don't care. This scratch is something which he did as a wantonly or whatever, and I want justice for this. This is how we will take that stand. So now the whole thing is, it's just a car. There is another car next to the side. This is also a car. But why my position is changing? Because both are cars. I should have got equally angry when the other car was scratched. Why I did not? Because here I am attached lustily to this object, and that object is in not my lust bracket, where I was sensibly acting. But here, because of that lust, I have gone into anger. And you can see elsewhere, he says, from anger it leads to loss of intelligence, and then you become mad. That is the next verse, I think. Yeah. From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again to the material platform. So this whole concept is not simply about controlling anger. This question is about what is the problem of living in the bodily concept. But in management ways, when they use Bhagavad-gītā, they are simply using it for how to better use all these, understand all these technologies and concepts which Krishna is giving, which I am saying is technology, to better our material life. That is how all these people are taking it. But Bhagavad-gītā is actually to tell us, what is the problem of you dwelling in the bodily concept. When you are thinking in the bodily concept, you are too much attaching to the objects of those bodily parts, which is attracted to that object, which leads to lusty intensity with that object, which further leads to anger because of too much association with it, and you are not getting it. There are many places. If assuming I am having a good relationship with one person, I want to have a good relationship with a person, but that person is not having that same reciprocation. What happens? I get anger. So you see people throw acid on the other person. You can understand, you see all these things on the newspapers. Every day these things are coming. Why? Because I got too much attached to that particular object. So Krishna is saying, this is the root cause. Therefore, in the previous all verses is talking about restraining your senses and not attaching ourselves to this consciousness. What we need to understand is it possible? Is it possible that I don't attach myself to, not have any connection with the objects of the senses? So it's like, if you say water, right? Water by nature flows. It is a natural property of the water. Now if you say no, water, you should not flow, what are you talking? Are you being logical? That's how the question will come. Don't be artificial. It is not true. It will flow. Therefore, the point is, it is not practical for the senses to not get engaged. Because by nature, senses, body is actually made of 5 material elements, and it naturally connects to the material elements outside of it. It is natural for the senses to act that way. But I am not the body. What am I? I am soul. That is already very clearly established. If that is the situation, I should be connecting with the soul-related activities. Atma connect with Paramatma. Right? The son connects with the father, son connects with the mother, son connects with the siblings. So Atma connects with the father. Atma connects with the other souls. It is natural. Now, the issue is, both seems to be merged into one because we don't understand that these are two things. And we are thinking, no, I am body. And therefore, body, 5 material elements. So it connects with them, 5 material elements. It's okay, so be it. That is what I am made up for. So the Western philosophy is, enjoy as much as you can when you have life. There is no second chance, right? We have a book called The Second Chance. But that philosophy is, there is no second chance. Like, you live only once. You would have heard such statements. You live only once, make merry when you are alive. Right? So because that concept is clearly not having the understanding of the second component within this body. There is the third component which we are talking about as the Paramatma, that forget that, but even the second component people don't understand. So the logically thinking is, so I enjoy sense gratification, what is wrong in that? But when you get this understanding, this body is made of 5 material elements, and this 5 material elements will behave in relation to the material elements, but unfortunately that is only my vehicle and I am the one who need to control it. So a vehicle is there, you drive that vehicle. A vehicle has wheels, it has engine, you switch on the engine and press the accelerator, it will run. Now, yeah, it's natural propensity to run when an engine and this one run. But what is the role of the driver? He steers it. No? It is not allowed to run like you run whatever way you want, because anyway it's natural propensity, you will run when you are connected to the engine. But the driver, what he does, he applies the brake where it should not run fast, he will apply a brake. Where it should turn the other way so that it does not hit a tree, he will turn it. This is the job of the driver. So we sitting inside the body, we are the driver. Then while I know this body's natural tendency is to run, like in that car has tendency to run, this body's natural tendency is for sense gratification, obsessed, becoming obsessed. But I should be the steering, the person who should be steering that vehicle. I cannot say, no, it is natural tendency to run, let it run the way it is. We can't allow that like that. So Krishna is saying, yes, it will run naturally. You can't stop it, because he says in one of the earlier verses, the inclination for the senses to be gratified, it is already always there. Krishna is saying that. It's not like, it's not there, it will be there. And therefore many people say, okay, I get it. Then I will simply restrain it. So people, you can see, people go to Himalayas, they sit and meditate, they try to withdraw all their senses, or even they will do so many upavasas. Upavasas means not eating lot of things. They will say, no, I'm too. If I eat that my control of the senses goes away. So I don't want to do that, which is good, which is nice. But here you are like restraining that sense and actually not taming them. That's the problem. Or engaging them. Krishna says you need to engage, because my propensity to engage, and if you don't engage it, it is in a mess. So you have to engage it. But if you restrain it, what happens? It becomes a problem. Just like a child. So when a child, sometimes the child becomes very adamant. It starts going up tantrums, right? Because it is particularly, let's say it says, I want to buy this toy. It keeps throwing tantrums again and again and again. Now what do the parents do? Some parents start beating up that child, right? You rascal, listen to me now, and drag the child away. But some intelligent parents, what they do is, they try to deviate the child away from that particular thought. They talk something else which is of interest to the child, and then the child forgets this particular ask, and then it shifts. You will see many times when a child is crying, throwing at them, and some parents will make some lot of some tickle or do something, then the child crying, it will start smiling, like laughing, and slowly it will forget why it started crying. So this is the kind of thing. So Krishna is saying your senses will always get attracted to the object, and you cannot just restrain it artificially. So what should I do? He is saying it's natural propensity to engage in activities, so you let it engage in activities. But you are saying it lead to attachment, and that leads to lust, that leads to anger. Yes. So therefore he is saying, instead of the thing, you in relation to the soul, because two components are there, no? The soul and the body. So engage it in relation to the soul and not with this material thing. So the same activity you do, but you do it as a service to the Supreme Personality of God. So the senses get engaged, great. So it is not agitated. It moves smoothly. There is no problem because it needs engagement. I have given you engagement. Do it. What is the problem? So I am a nice singer. I am obsessed with singing. Then I am thinking, when I will get recognized, when I will be, when I will get my Bharat Ratna, what I keep. I'm so deeply I am engaged only in that. Because there it is to be do with me. I am a great singer. I want to get recognition. I. Okay, now same singing, don't stop. Sing it for Krishna. In the process, it comes to this point that, the more better I sing, I become more happy because Krishna is more happier. That's all. Then, while I am doing the engagement for the sense, there is no lust, there is no anger, nothing. Of course, we should. Initially, it will be difficult. Like today, assuming you are doing one service and someone does it a little better than you, you get angry. That means we are envious of the other person. Oh, what he, and we will try to find fault where his, the tune went wrong. Actually, I would have sung that better. It's natural we say that in the initial stages. But as we keep doing this regularly, doing it clearly in our mind that this service is for the Lord, I am engaging the senses, but as I am doing this, it is for the Lord. Then you will actually realize that defect in my experiment goes away. Just like I gave the initial example where I am also doing that experiment, but I am getting a wrong result, but you are getting a correct result. And I didn't do it properly. So my mindset of while doing that service, in this case, I need to be dedicating it to Krishna. Because that's what he says, Mat Paraha. You dovetail it to me. But here, even though I am singing Kirtan, I am dovetailing it to my body. Therefore, the result is also getting I am getting envious on the other person. But if I have to, it will take, maybe, this is Anartha Nivritti stage where sometimes some devotees have spoken, it may take 4 lifetimes also. But not necessarily 4 lifetimes it should take. It can take 1 lifetime also. Yesterday, I think I heard my spiritual master, Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj. So he mentioned, Prabhupada somewhere said that it took me 20 years to come to perfection. So Prabhupada, it took 20 years. Prabhupada made that statement to, which Jayapataka Maharaj recalled. So for me, maybe 1 lifetime, 80 years, 100 years, I don't know. Maybe 2 lifetimes. That's still okay. Millions of lifetimes, I have gone through this nonsense. Why not 1 or 2 lifetimes? Or even if 4 lifetimes like the other devotee I heard in one of the classes. It's at some people it can take 4 lifetimes also. So, okay. But for someone it may maybe 10 lifetimes. But still 10 is nothing compared to the millions I have gone through, no? So what I'm trying to say is that experiment, when you are doing it, you have to take through the logical steps. But if you clearly understand the process very clearly, then you are getting there. But if I don't understand, I will keep on making mistakes, then that bell time will come, bell will ring, one period is over, you are not completed. Okay, I will do it again. They will say, you do it tomorrow, after class you do it, they will tell, okay, I will do it. But I will get it right. Because I am getting closer and closer to that because I am trying to do it. So this is how it is, we need to be at it all the time. And while we say, we don't get it in our head. We may act, but we may not get it. But as you keep acting and applying this knowledge, whatever I read, whatever I understood theoretically, I should keep on revisiting that. Oh, but today I sang, but I still felt very, high that, oh, I am such a great singer. Okay, then I should, see, this is not supposed to be there, why it came? Okay, next day. So this is when we keep going, you can see this, all these spiritual masters, they are absolutely in that blissful state because they have come to that stage where they have understood and achieved it by realization, which means practiced it and realized it. And it is practically possible for everyone, and all of us can see for ourselves from where we started to where we are. Maybe I am not perfected, but I can see how I have traveled in the last whatever many years. I can see there is a difference. So that is the proof of the pudding. It is fact. Yes, maybe tomorrow when I am driving, a scratch happens in my car, I may get angry. But the intensity of my anger may be different. It may not be what it was maybe before I started Krishna consciousness or during my journey in Krishna consciousness. I'm just giving an example. Maybe I will behave still badly in that, but in some other area I may have refined very much because there are so many anarthas, not just one. So we need to fix all of these things, and it's a wonderful journey because you are purifying your consciousness. It is not simply artificially saying, oh, I have now arrived in a, okay, no. This is artificial, but this is deliberate attempt. One by one, simultaneously we are looking at all aspects. We just took one example. And so I have millions of activities around me, right? In office, in my relationships, with people, with my ambitions. There are millions of things. And when I say relationship, it's not with one person, right? I have thousands of relationships. So it's very complicated, but the principle is this: how do I apply this and in the process see progress? And if we are able to do that, I think we can actually understand. And the idea, therefore, Krishna is saying, allow your objects to, your senses to work, but not on the objects of the senses, which is this materialism, but try to engage them in the spiritual consciousness or in Krishna consciousness. And he's giving two wonderful examples how see in this material world, Brahma Bhavanar Loka, and that right starting from the Brahma Loka down to the Indrakupa, down to the smallest of this one, everything is material world. So, for example, if Lord Shiva also got agitated, like he is not like me, 99.99% he is perfect. But there is still, because in this material world there is this 0.1% possible for anyone. So he gives this example how he was meditating so much focusedly, but he was agitated by Parvati. Prabhupada is writing that as a result Kartikeya came. Now, it's not about wrong about Kartikeya coming, that's not the point. The point is that there was this agitation of the mind, that is the point. And he gives the other example of Haridas Thakur, when he was agitated by the Maya, how he acted. So, if we are focused on the devotional service, engaging that object in that sense, actually that person is not caught up in this, in this case, the lust and then anger, all that. So, that if you are able to understand, and we should understand why, like Brahma sometimes did some misbehavior things, Indra does something like that. So we can say, why, these people are also, it happened to them also. So after all, I am a small thing, why I should try, it's very difficult, let me leave it. No, let me be natural in my material consciousness. So Prabhupada always says, if you see something like that, don't get discouraged. On the other hand, use that to become stronger, to say, if it can happen to Brahma, what about me? I need to be more careful. So this is a journey, right? I will be foolish to say, okay, from tomorrow onwards, I will be perfect or whatever. But am I conscious of this? Have I understood this? And am I in every activity of mine trying to apply this formula? Then there is clear, sure guarantee that I will attain it. But if I don't even know that this is what is the problem and I am ignorant, there is no chance for me to understand. So I end here. If there are any questions and comments, welcome. Sorry, I have taken more time than what I am supposed to. Any comments or any questions, welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the lovely class. Prabhu, as you said now, like when we say, Kisne agla janam diya, who's in the next birth? Let's enjoy this life. I mean, this is more than your senses. I think this is such a, catcher to overcome and to to be in Krishna conscious, because anytime you want to do sense gratification, you always have this. Arre, Indra ne bhi to suar ki tarah raha na, in any form, we will enjoy. I mean, to overcome this sentence is more difficult than at least, in my life, I see this.
All of us, Mataji. Krishna is saying, no, Arjuna is saying that it is very difficult to control the senses. It is like that wind. Not possible, difficult.
I mean, I don't feel ashamed to tell you. Like, I mean, this sentence so many times. When I hear it in the family or hear it among the children, to work against that is the most difficult thing for me. Yes. And with Krishna, with Guru Maharaj's grace, somehow I'm surviving here. So I should be grateful to him. And
all of us are.
And Prabhu, like when we were talking about senses, I met Guru Maharaj in the hospital this time and previously also. Prabhu, we never heard him say, we have slight pain. We are always complaining. The first thing which goes is your spiritual activities. You don't give a class, or you don't want to chant, you don't read. But even in this thing, like he's preaching, like he's giving a class. When he was hospitalized, he wanted to come in the ambulance to give darshan.
Yes.
And we were all waiting in the temple that Guru Maharaj is going to come in the ambulance, darshan denge, and he's going to and he was in the ICU, remember, at that time.
Yes.
And it was only when the doctors put their foot down that did he heed to it, and he did not come. But the second day he came on Zoom.
Yes.
So we have to be. I mean, of course, we can't put ourselves in his shoes, but it is tough, Prabhu.
Yes.
Spiritual life is not
inspiration. He is an inspiration showing by example.
Yes. Spiritual life is not easy as we think. Oh, chant kar liya, ho gaya. Every day is an examination for me.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank
Hare
you for this wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dharat pranams.
Pranam to everybody. Hare Krishna.
Dharat pranam, Mataji. Dharat pranam. Prabhuji, thank you so much. Thank you for your wonderful class, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dharat pranam.
I love listening to your classes, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class.